Yeah, welcome to KKTV. And today we want to discuss about gender-based violence. At times this is a very misused topic. What is gender-based violence? Gender-based violence is a phenomenon deep-rooted on a gender inequality and continues to be one of the most notable human rights violations in all societies. But gender-based violence is directed against a person because of their gender. Both women and men experience gender-based violence, but the majority of the people who face this are women. Actually, it is assumed more that it is a gender-based violence, is violence against women. And in the studio, we are going to have Dr. Judy to talk about it. Hi, Dr.
Hello, how are you doing today?
How are you? You look very different.
What do you mean?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. As I was talking about gender-based violence, it's
Yes.
violence against a person of a different gender, either women or men. But mostly this one has been left exclusively that is talking about gender-based violence, violence against women. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that, and what I also agree with is the fact that you are or somebody is being discriminated against because of their gender, and that's why the gender comes in. But it's mostly against women, and why is that?
Yeah, because don't you think men also suffer because we are using gender-based violence? Men also are discriminated against. There is violence done towards men by women.
I agree. It can go both ways, and yes, that's why gender. It's gender based.
Mm,
So, one thing I'd like to point out to though is now when you look at workplaces, when you look at hierarchy, presidency, when you look at the women versus the men ratio in workplaces,
mm,
wouldn't you agree that sometimes in some workplaces, because we've been brought up to believe that a man is stronger than a woman because of strength, and of course, in some cultures they actually treasure
mm.
uh, the boy child more than they treasure the girl child, and that has really infiltrated in workplaces. So it leaves a lot of that violence, um, and of course the gap, you know, has a lot to do with all that.
Don't you think, and it's good that you have talked about culture,
Hmm.
but through this culture that women have, violence has been done against women, which of course we don't deny,
Hmm.
but based on that, they have ended up uh, putting laws which are protecting women so much until those laws themselves have become violence against men.
Um,
You don't agree with?
I'd like you to give me a specific examples because
Okay, let me give you an example.
yes.
uh, Rules have been strengthened that violence against women, you go to jail. Like there are strict laws um, that has made men get scared. So at this time, even a partner will inflict pain into the husband, but the husband will just tolerate that internally because he doesn't want to do anything because he's fearing that the law is against them. Don't you think that is violence against men?
I do agree that anytime anybody lays their hand on somebody, that is violence, and it can be either or. on a man or a woman. That's why I say when you have an issue, you want to make sure you keep your hands to yourself. And that's what we teach our kids, man. If an argument is escalating, then you want to actually just walk away so that there is no chance where you have interaction. Because, sometimes I've seen women actually also get in trouble because maybe they put their hands on men and they scratch them, and there was blood evidence. So back to you. I mean, what's the evidence?
Yeah, but you see, one thing you have said that
Mm-hmm.
you know there are different types of violence.
Mm-hmm.
Could be physical violence, could be sexual violence,
Mm-hmm.
could be psychological violence.
Yes.
And let's talk about psychological violence.
Mm-hmm.
When you are leaving a place, can insult you, can inflict psychological pain in you, and you are simply saying you walk away. You walk away today. It's very cold. You go outside. It's very cold. Then you come back. You are in a place. You are living with somebody like a bomb cell. You are always careful. Don't you think that is psychological violence against men? Because surely let us break the nut inside. There are men who have been abused by their partners because of the laws. And we only look at physical. Physical, that's what the police will come and say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you think if a woman calls 911
Mm-hmm.
that is being abused by the husband,
Mm-hmm.
when the police come, what would they do?
Um, of course, they want to do an assessment. I mean, that's what I hope the police do. Like, they will look at what's going on, what's the
Yeah,
situation.
but they will cause separation first. They will say now, oh, you cannot come here. You have to get some place to go. Or if they find evidence, they will take you to jail. But what if a man calls that he has been assaulted by the wife?
Okay, so I would love to hear from, there's a guy.
No, no, no. Let us be realistic. Would they tell the lady to leave the house and leave the man in the house?
Now, back to you. I mean, where I would say I have not heard of a situation where they told the man to leave. But again, how many?
You have not had a situation where a man has been told to leave?
No, a woman has been told
A
to.
woman. Yeah, that's true.
Mhm. Yes.
They don't do it anyway.
So
Don't you think that is violence to men? I'm
I,
going to know you.
I think so too. I think
It causes psychological violence.
it does. And a psychological issue doesn't mean, of course, that there's physical harm, but there's a fear. There's a fear that if I reacted one way or the other, then something is going to happen. And you're right, we're in a foreign country, and we have adopted laws. Sometimes people don't know how negatively, or how it's going to impact somebody when you call the police on them. And that's why we always say, hey, what did you try to do? Did you try to resolve it? Because even outside right now, I mean, it's minus 15 degrees. Can you imagine what it would look like if somebody were out there for, like, even 2 minutes? You freeze.
Exactly. Basically, I think what I'm surprised about this gender-based violence, the way it's being initiated and how it's used, we forget the big picture, the psychological torture. At times, we tend to favor the other gender while ignoring the other gender's impact on it. Let's take an example. In Kenya right now, there is a nominated senator, Karen Nyamu.
Yes.
I have seen there is, and this is where we are coming to a new what we call it, cyberbullying. I don't know whether I call it cyberbullying or cyber gender-based violence. I've seen it in groups. And this lady had a child with one celebrity, Samido.
Samido.
Yeah, Samido. Yeah, Samido. I think you pronounce it right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was some altercation when they were in Dubai because Samido has a wife, and then he got a child with this lady who has now become a senator. Now that she has become a senator, it's becoming an issue.
Yeah.
Even purportedly, some people were saying she needs to be removed as a nominated senator.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think that is gender-based violence targeting her?
I think so too. Yes, I really I share with you that the fact that before, I mean, before she was a senator, I mean, she had a child. This means they had consensual sex, and
Mm,
just doesn't have one child. She has two children, and now, according to what I've had with this Samido person,
mm,
celebrity in Kenya,
yeah.
and Samido has a wife, and they were all there. When you see those clips, they're very disturbing to me, and the reason they're very disturbing is because you see two grown men
Mm-hmm.
bounces. Man, you cannot manhandle somebody like that, because sometimes a push from a man is not going to be a push from you know um a lady. So again, she was, of course, she was intoxicated. Yes, you can lead her
Mm,
out, then just literally push her off the stage. I mean, those were concerning. What if she had had a fall? Then what
yeah.
would, yes.
And then why would she be verified? Supposing it was a male senator
Yes.
who was discovered that he had a child outside marriage, do you
Hmm.
think it could have become an issue?
I don't think so. And that's the problem. I think our women vilify women. It's like we there I mean, if anything, people are people need to understand that in 2014 there was a law that was passed actually in Kenya where they realized there were so many, the ratio between men and women
Mm,
in Kenya is almost 3-1. Now
mm,
it has gone up.
yeah.
So they said, okay, we will allow maybe this man to actually have, more, um, two spouses, as long as, of course, the kids are taken care of and he's able to take care of his, like, wife. So
Mm,
there's no neglect. Then there was, there was no issue. So those kids that were born um, outside to this other person or this other woman are actually identified and will be recognized by the law. So when they vilified this senator from Kenya, I was shocked at the violence, and I was shocked at how many ladies are so quick to actually point out the finger. No, and I'd like to point this out too. People forget they have sisters, they have uh, mothers, and maybe they themselves may not know
mm,
that they have husbands who have spouses in Kenya or hidden tucked away somewhere. So I want to really point out to people out here, don't try to take a speck of glass out of somebody's eye when you can't look at your own eyes and realize there's an issue there.
yeah.
Hmm.
Now, what is your opinion about uh, the case of the Meru senator who now stands impeached with the county assembly within 100 days in office? I mean, literally, when she went to office, they started fighting and now they have impeached. Uh, is it because he's a woman, or would you say that they are doing some gender-based violence against her?
Yes, and I'd say this, when you look at the case, when you see what happened, I mean, the MCAs all ganged up against her and they walked out on her. Of course, then we want to go back and say, okay, if this was a man, would
Would
this,
they do that?
yeah, would it, have happened this way. And then, you know, you want to look at everything that happened. Okay, oh, she wouldn't meet with them. She set up a meeting, she wouldn't meet with them. But look at how many senators. I mean, we've had examples, of course, of impeached senators, but look at everything else that these senators have done. You know, I would want to name, I mean, Sonko was, of
Yeah.
course, right? But then again, that example, within 100 days, and for walking out on and refusing to give the MCAs 5 million, I think that is gender based. And
you see now, they are complaining about the husband being close, so they don't want. And I want you to listen to this clip of the husband complaining. Oh, just a minute.
Ni kwa hisani, kwa maana nimeona yale mambo yameandikiwa barua ya EACC. Ningependa EACC wanisaidie nijue mipaka yangu, wanisaidie nijue kama nafaa kulala katika lile boma la serikali, nielewe kama nafaa kubebwa na lile gari la gavana wakati tunaenda mahali. Kwa hivyo ningeomba EACC wanisaidie pia mikutano, nielewe ni mikutano gani official ambayo ningefaa kuwa natumia, kwa maana sasa mpaka hapo imefika, mimi nimeona napitia ile inaitwa GBV, gender based violence. Kwa hivyo gender based violence sio ya wanawake peke yake, hata mimi kama mwanaume sasa napitia hiyo gender based violence. Sasa mimi nashangaa mpaka kuanzia hiyo barua ilipoandikiwa EACC, mimi nakaa nyuma ya tent. Mimi sasa sibebu na gari lile la gavana tena sipatiwi.
Okay, I think you have gotten it. What do you comment?
I would have said no comment, but you know what? Then I see, I mean, because if roles were reversed, because this is a woman's center, and of course now the man is the husband, but now he's being a target.
Yeah, because they don't want even the husband to be on the official governor's car. But if he's a man who was a governor, don't you think the first lady could be in the same?
Yes, I do.
And it's not a problem.
And it wouldn't be a problem. And that's very concerning. It is so concerning. I hope, because I know there's a group out here of men. Hopefully they can come out and just support this man. I mean, I see the pain. Sleeping in the tent is not...
no, not sleeping in the tent, that when they go to an official function, they don't want to see him next to the governor. Those are the things they are complaining. They don't, or is that they want to see the woman governor alone. Do they do that to first ladies?
And you know, that would not be they should not. I don't think they should do that. And because I have seen first ladies, I mean, we've seen the first ladies in this country. We've seen Michelle Obama. We saw Trump's wife. We have seen other presidents, like wives from other countries. And I have, just never seen that. So you're right. I mean, this man has a right to claim gender-based violence. And I hope we have some attorneys out there listening.
But we need to qualify as gender-based violence, because it is the men who are discriminated against their colleague man. It cannot be gender-based violence on that. It is, we define gender. I think we did define gender-based violence as what? Gender-based violence is a phenomenon deeply rooted in gender inequality and continues to be one of the most notable human rights violations. Gender-based violence is directed against a person because of their gender. I don't think we can call this. It has to be perpetuated by. I think it should have to be perpetuated by the other gender. So it's not women here complaining. Women are not complaining about the first gentleman. It's the men.
It's the men. But you know what? Here, I mean, do we have now? Maybe subject for another day. But do we have situations where we have in this situation, maybe it's a power wrangle because
Actually, most of the MCAs, more especially those who are elected in Meru County, they are men.
Okay.
Women are nominated.
Women are nominated. So now I tell you what, I'd give you a situation in Kisii, or have you ever heard of anybody like being I mean, how many people do we know who have been nominated as women MPs from Kisii? Women.
Yeah, we have one. One was nominated, Catherine Yamato, some years back.
Okay. And
nominated but not elected.
Not elected. So then what is wrong with that situation? Because in Nakuru County, we have Kihika, right? Miss Kihika. I mean, did you see the lineup? Then what is wrong with Kisii County? I'm going to push that question right back to you, sir.
Well, we had discussed that on another forum. And I had compared the Kisii and the Meru. That they are the only tribes who seem not to be comfortable with women leaders, women in leadership.
Yes.
Because the Kisiis have not even tried to put one. Even the one the Merus have put, they have lived there with the trouble. They never had peace. Even the first woman MP ended up to be jailed, so she did not even complete her term. Actually, we had a discussion some time back.
Back about that.
And so even the troubles Kawira is having is that. But they voted for her. But now you see they really within 100 days, what has he done? Even if making a mistake, you can't say he has stolen money. The petty things they were accusing her it looks like it has something to do with the culture.
It has something to do with the culture. And I would say this, there is a problem. We have an issue that needs to be addressed, because when you look at the senators, right, like even like House representation, I mean, women in Kisii and Meru community.
We lost your voice. We can't hear you.
Women are to be, they say women are to be seen, not to be heard. They're supposed to just sire kids. But then for me, the biggest issue is, now, do we go back and re-educate the men on...
the reason why I'm saying about this gender-based violence, maybe it has been facing the wrong direction. We really need to face the truth. Sometimes it could be, there are so many different types of gender-based violence, which are common. Like 1 in 3 women are experiencing physical and sexual violence. 1 in 2 women are experiencing sexual harassment. 1 in 20 women have been raped. 1 in 5 women have experienced stalking. 95% of victims trafficked for sexual exploitation in the European Union. That's according to the European Union. Maybe we are looking at the broader issues. But really, we have to address this issue. It has to be local.
Yes.
Because there are some of the very strong culture underpinnings which make people. Let me tell you, like in Kisii, if a woman is running for a position, the first people to hate her are the colleague women. Because the women make the majority of the voters anyway. Why have they not voted for a woman? They are the first people to say that you have crossed the line. That is a man domain. You don't need to go there.
And you're right, and I've seen that even in the social mediums where the people who are quick to attack, instead of looking at a situation where, okay, you know, this lady maybe has had with, you know, kids with her, that musician, like you said, and you know, instead of looking at how she was manhandled and even pushed out of the stage, people are looking at the women are like, oh my goodness, she should be expelled from the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, okay, come on. You know what? If this was your daughter, if this was your child, I mean, would you have the same position? Because to me, that is looking at things from one direction. If
Yeah.
you,
So what do you think should be done? Uh, according to you, how
Mhm.
can we equalize this gender-based violence to really address the real issues?
How can we equalize it? I mean, we start educating. We start educating our kids, our boys right now. We start educating our men and actually having people look at things from a different perspective. Because at the end of the day, I mean, the coin could be flipped anytime, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, One thing I want us to look at is, okay, where did this start? Because now we know there was a root cause. The women in Kisii, of course, and women in Meru would
Mm.
know they don't want to vote in a woman. And the other thing I want you to remember is in Nairobi counties, or the other counties that have elected women, you know, one thing I realized with that population is
Mm.
they are cosmopolitan.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then one of the phenomena which needs attention, which has appeared many times, is femicide. Femicide is the killing of a woman by an intimate partner or death of a woman as a result of a practice that is harmful to
Mhm.
women.
Mhm.
Intimate partners is understood to be either a former or a current spouse or a partner, whether or not the
Mhm.
perpetrator shares or has shared the same residence with the victim.
Mhm.
Now, and this is where when it comes out, we cry a lot
Mhm.
about what has happened.
Mhm.
Like recently, we had a case in Kentucky
Mhm.
where a husband shot the woman dead, then killed the two daughters, and then he shot himself.
Mhm.
Uh, and it leaves people wondering up to now
Mhm.
what really happened.
Mhm.
Why would it come to that? Why would the man do this? Was the man having a mental issue, or was he psychologically suffering?
Mhm.
Maybe it was psychologically. I mean, I'm not talking. I don't have any facts. What do you think a case like that, and how can gender-based violence initiatives address it?
You know, one thing that we've seen is there's been a lot of mental health issues. There's been a lot of gender-based issues, especially with COVID and the aftermath of COVID. And so I would say this: jealousy is the number one motive of, you know, homicides.
Mm,
Um, Homicides, and of course, you know, he killed himself, and then he also, yeah, so it's a homicide suicide situation.
mm,
So jealousy is number one.
mm,
So, and we understand that this lady actually just lost her father about a month ago. So they
mm,
did travel with her husband to Kenya,
mm,
um, and came back. And then, of course, she just had her birthday, and there was all this love, and then all of a sudden things happened. So
mm,
I say, would we want to address this from a mental health perspective, but also from the fact that, you know what, there are things that drive people that we need to address. So could something have happened? Did anybody see any signs of this man maybe, you know, just going over the edge?
mm,
Because we also had a case where this famous DJ with you know, one of the ladies who's, you know, who has a very big show, Ellen, right?
mm,
Ellen
mm.
DeGeneres.
Yeah.
This guy went and, you know, took off. I mean, we thought he was a very happy personality, but he took off and went and killed himself in a hotel when we thought he had everything, you know, celebrity. He is called, actually, so they call him DJ Twitch.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah. So because just maybe things are not what
They are the
they
way
are.
they look like.
They look like.
So we are having a mask. We put a mask when we come to the show,
Mm-hmm.
and we try to portray the perfect life when
Mm-hmm.
actually we are psychologically even suffering. This does not go far.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen even people, even families, which maybe when they are going to church, they are going like a perfect family, singing church hymns together. But when they reach home, they don't even talk to one another.
Mm-hmm.
So we have tried to perfect this perfect image we want people to know. When
Mm-hmm.
actually we are rotten inside, we are not facing the realities. Because like now that situation,
Mm-hmm.
our society is we are having what we call when we are doing assessment, we call a black box approach. The black box approach is
Mm-hmm.
the black box is in an aeroplane.
Mm-hmm.
When the airplane has a crash,
Mm-hmm.
investigators rush to get the black box
Mm-hmm.
to find out what happened to the plane.
That's true.
But the plane is already crashed.
Right.
Why can't we do a different one instead of going to a black box, so that we can save these people? Like Twitch, they could have been saved, like the family we have talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the in-depth that we need to look beyond the service. What
Mm-hmm.
the society, we are living in a society which wants us to appear so perfect, and everybody is now imitating that. So we are all, what I can say, fake. We cannot.
And I tell you this, man. Sometimes the picture perfect family sells, but people need to actually realize that there's nothing perfect, and
Yeah.
it's okay for people to see the imperfections, because how can they help if they don't see the imperfections? And sometimes when you come out very strongly and are saying the truth, people will say, "I don't like Dr. Omandi for talking about that. He should he
Yeah.
shouldn't." But this is where we start. If there's a problem, we start to address it, because then more people can come out and actually address these issues. But otherwise, we are hiding in a mask. And when we are dead is when that mask is going to be veiled? No, I don't think so. But I commend you, Dr. Omandi. I think some of these controversial issues need to be talked about. We need to address them. 2023 is going to be different, because we are going to unveil and mask these issues.
That's
And
very true. More especially, that's why many men are dying, because they don't want to say their problems.
mm-hmm,
They think that if they say that they have failed somewhere as a father or as a husband, they
mm-hmm,
think that's a failure. And that's a failure they want to guard. They don't want it to be seen in the society.
mm-hmm,
So if men can come out
mm-hmm.
and really pour their problem, sometimes why you ladies are good is that when you are in a problem, you cry, you shout, you talk about it, and you release the energy. But the
Then
man, they say, cries. Have you ever, if you touch the tears, the tear is very hot. Imagine if the man doesn't take the tears out, it is burning inside. So they
that's
need to cry. If they don't want to be seen in public, let them go to a room and cry and release the temperature.
that's so true. Because and you know what? Sometimes they say, here, maybe it is a weakness, and that's why I think people need to actually normalize crying, or men need to have that session. But again, can you imagine if we decided to have a Dr. Omandi crying show? You invited 5 of your friends, right?
I would assure you, no man will come. Because a man cannot. Men try to
Mm-hmm.
hide that. We
Yeah.
do hide, because we are supposed to be seen as tough,
Mm-hmm.
as people who are a problem solvers. So
Mm-hmm.
when a man cries, other men will laugh at you. A really man crying like a woman. Have you ever had that?
I've had that, and that's why it's like, no, you know what? We need to normalize crying. So I think one thing we can do then is actually discuss that even with our kids and just tell them it's okay to let out emotion, because once something builds up, it's like a balloon, because
Yeah.
that is going to be released somewhere. And how is that going to be released?
Okay, well, it was nice talking to you, Dr. Judy. You have been away.
Mm-hmm.
We hope to continue with the same discussion.
Yes.
Thank you for your time. We'll stop here now and